Hey guys, welcome to my channel and I'm back again with another really interesting video guys. In this video, as you can see on my screen, today we are going to discuss the topmost 3 relevant AI design patterns that you can use to create your own AI application. So we are going to learn a little bit about system architecture today. I know you guys are excited for it, I'm excited as well. Let's get started. So, guys, the first pattern that I'm going to discuss with you is called as a react pattern. And this is an image that I have researched from the web, and the actual link where I found this material is from Analytics Vidya, and I'm gonna place that link in the description below as well. So credit where it's due. Now let's discuss about this pattern. So guys, as you can see on my screen, it's called as react. So re means reasoning here and act means action here. So what basically it does is that whenever you are giving a query to your large language model, the large language model is going to come up with a whole lot of reasoning behind its actions, and then it is going to execute those actions one step at a time. So let's say you gave it a query, and now what LLM is doing is LLM is actually reasoning. It is finding out what it needs to do to perform this task, and then whatever it needs to do to perform this task is like a series of steps, and for every step it needs a tool, right? So what it's going to do is going to look into its tools, and it's going to find out what tools it needs to perform those list of tasks. It's going to take one task, do it with a tool, and then it's going to take the output of that task, feed it back into the next task, again perform it, feed it back, again perform it, and finally when it has all the inputs and outputs done, it will create this entire structure, get the final output, and it will return the result. Okay, and then when it's the LLM is actually finally generating the result, it will return that as a response, as a UI response to your user. To understand this a little bit better, I also found this link where we can actually look into how the React design pattern works. So you can see that the question here is that aside from Apple remote, what other device can control the program Apple remote was originally designed to interact with. Okay, so this is basically a question. Now you can see that how the large language model, the React design pattern actually works with it. So the design pattern works on a chain of thought, right? So it can first thinking that I need to search the Apple remote and find a program it was originally designed to interact with. So this is the first chain of thought. That to answer this question correctly, this is the first thing I need. Then it works on that thought, it actions on it, and it finds out that once searching for Apple remote, it observes that the Apple remote is the remote control introduced in October 2005, blah blah blah, and this and that, right? And it was designed to control what? The front row media center. Now it has found what Apple remote controls, so now it needs to find out that what I need to search front row next and find out what other devices can control it. Okay, so it is working on reasoning and action, and then basically that reasoning and action is leading to a chain of thought and observations, and finally it is working on the second thought. Now you can see, and the second observation it gets is that it could not find that front row similar. So basically it couldn't find that exact front row media center, so it is going towards a similar things like front row sea to earth, front row motorsports, etc. etc. So now it searches for front row software, and then it is a discontinued media center software. So final chain of thought is that front row is the software that is controlled by Apple remote or the keyboard function key, and thereby the answer is that if an Apple remote is not there to control this software, the only option that you have is the keyboard function key. So you don't have anything else other than your keyboard function keys, and that becomes your final answer, that keyboard function key is the only way. There is no other software other than an Apple remote. But you can see how it works, right? This is called as reasoning plus action. So it looks into the reason. It looks into the question, finds out that if I want to answer this question correctly, what all other things I actually need to do. It performs all of these through a set of tools. So in this case, this large language model is provided the search tool, and it is using that search tool, which is highlighted in blue, to actually get all the answers and finally going into the result. Okay, so this is called as the react design pattern, and this is quite heavily used, guys. You will see this pattern being used in many of the enterprise level AI cases. Now let's look into the next design pattern, which is called as the reflection AI pattern, or you can also call it the reflexion AI pattern. And this is another image that I have researched from the web, guys. And before I go into the image, let me just brief you what is a reflection AI pattern. So in a reflection AI pattern, guys, basically an AI large language model critiques itself. So there is sort of think of it like this, that a large language model on one hand is giving you the answers to your query, but on the other hand it is also learning from those responses and making itself better. So you can see here that there is a user which a request for something. The large language model, which is your responder, which is your artificial brain, gives you certain initial response. Once it gives you the initial response, it actually critiques that particular response. It actually evaluates that response. Once it evaluates the response through certain mechanism, it creates a revised response. Okay, it uses some tools and then it creates a revised response in this particular step, and finally it looks into that revised response again through that large language model brain, and end result is now sent to the user. And this thing is actually repeated multiple times. So the large language model keeps on generating a response, evaluating that response, using some tools, finally creating another revised response, then again like n times repeating it, and finally coming back with a final response to the user, which it thinks is the final response, and it cannot revise it further. Now the only drawback of this particular model is that sometimes this model can be stuck in a loop. So for example, sometimes the AI model can keep on revising its responses, and it can be stuck in a sort of loop where if it has fetched an information before, if it fetches that again in the next loop, it can again go back into revising the same information. And this can also lead to getting your response in much delayed manner rather than getting it in a much faster or an instant way, right? But this is basically the method of reflection, and this is quite useful as well, guys, because with a reflection AI pattern, a large language model sort of learns from each other. So you don't have to provide it any training data. Okay, it is gonna learn from its own responses, so you don't have to do the fine tuning of the model yourself. Most of the time you guys have heard about all these different fine tuning techniques where the software engineers are using a whole lot of data to train their models, but you don't have to do that in this case because the model is learning from its own. And here you can see that it's sort of an example here where the user asks a code on a Fibonacci series, and it prints the Fibonacci series. It prints the Fibonacci algorithm, or it thinks of the Fibonacci algorithm. But you can see here that the large language model itself is actually executing the function on its own. It tests it with certain test cases. It tests it with N1, tests it with N2, tests it with N3, and when it's doing the testing, it is also checking that if there is a bug or not. If there is a bug, then it needs to look into this line number 7 in the code, and then it optimizes the code, and finally when the LLM is satisfied with it, it's gonna return you the answer that this is the code for Fibonacci series. Okay. But I hope you guys liked this video, guys. If you do like this video, then please do not forget to like this video and share this video with your friends. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions for me, please do write down in the comment section below. I would be really really happy to address them. In the end, guys, if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe and hit the bell icon for future notifications of more such programming, coding, and AI related videos. I'll see you guys in the next video, guys. Until then, take care and bye bye.